maybe I'm just naive, but I still find it hard to believe the Prime Minister of Canada would intentionally sink the country. Oftentimes we do agree on the problem, and in this case, the problem is that Carney's shitting the bed. Oftentimes we might not agree on necessarily the intention behind it. Maybe I'm just naive, but I still find it hard to believe the Prime Minister of Canada would intentionally sink the country. But to be fair, I do have eyes as well, and a brain, and it's getting harder and harder for me to hold on to this position because it's starting to become the only one that makes sense. But I assume then you think he's doing this intentionally and not just messing up, not just doing a bad job.
He ran out of pawns, because he was using the Liberal and Conservative Party through the WEF and the NDP. These were all aligned with the WEF. Singh was part of the Young Global Leaders. So that whole program, they used up, I think, what they thought were the expendable Canadians in the leadership roles. It just didn't work as well as they thought, so they brought in Daddy. You have to follow the WEF for years to understand this fully. And I love how you think he's a Canadian. He's not a Canadian. He's a globalist. There is a big difference, okay? So when you are Canada first or a Canadian and you're thinking about your nation, I can see where you're getting that kind of hesitation to believe that the leader of our nation would do anything against us. You have to understand he has a higher power. That's the globalist. So when you're on the globalist level, we are just a piece of the puzzle that he's trying to build. And he's very clear in his book values. He has a globalist European alignment. He thinks Canada needs to get in line. He doesn't think Canada is something that's separate and sovereign. He thinks us as basically the one that's not getting in line with the rest of Europe. And that's why he's dragging us kicking and screaming, because there's people like you out there that really believe Canada should be thinking about Canada first. That's why he's bringing us kicking and screaming. And in what he's doing, though, I want you to be very clear about this, Rob. He's going to shut down the kicking and screaming. So there's going to be censorship, so we can't scream, and people are going to be locked up that stands up. He already said he's going to use the Emergencies Act if anybody opposes him. So he's going to even shut down the kicking and screaming portion of what Canada is actually kind of doing right now and bring us into line. So if you get out of there and you think globalist is his loyalty, and using Europe to bring Canada in to get the final pieces of the puzzle to go against anything else that will not align with him, which would be Russia, China, US at this stage, then you can start seeing more of the 4D chess that he's doing. And Canada, the future of Canada isn't Canada. It is European 2.0.
One of the things I always tell Rob is, as a former sales engineer, I used to build solution on the end result, right? What are you trying to accomplish? Then reverse engineer your steps in order to get there. Once you understand what Mark Carney is trying to accomplish, and he doesn't believe in Canada first, he believes in the globalist agenda. He was on the board of the WEF. He was the special envoy for climate change at the UN. He signed the WHO new pandemic response that the US did not sign. So he is a globalist. He's not shy to talk about that in his book. But once you understand that this is the angle, how would you get there? Destroy the economy, destroy the relationship with their biggest ally, and sell the lie that we need to depend on ourselves by taking our own money and dumping it into our economy, which it's like living on your credit card. It don't work. It does not work. And if he cared about Canada, he'd close the border. Let's be honest here. But he's duplicating exactly what the UK has been doing with their open borders. And we're just very isolated. Right now, we're starting to see the effects of his policies, but wait. Because people don't realize, like when you're in Europe, you can deal with a lot more countries. Here, who can we deal with? Mexico's not interested in Carney. They basically laughed at him, saying that they don't want to renegotiate a deal. The US is clearly laughing in our faces, and they don't care because they have the leverage. So I don't understand how to this day, Rob, you can still see that there's something behind it. But we had Jeff Evely last week on the show, and him too. He doesn't want to believe that there's a massive agenda behind it, that there are people.
That's what it is. You just don't want to believe. That doesn't mean it's not true. It doesn't mean I'm completely blind to it. I am open to it, but it's
a hard pill to swallow for most people to realize that your government doesn't like you. They don't care for you. They don't see you as their equal, and they just want to control you. At the end of the day, that's what's happening. And The 2020 lockdown showed it. What's going on in Nova Scotia right now, the climate lockdowns are showing it once again.
Yeah.
Like there, you literally have the New Brunswick the New Brunswick Premier Susan Holt come out and say, "Oh, I basically lied about those hiker bans. It's not really about the
Well, I could tell that
wildfire,
that didn't
really."
go down well. They were like, "Oh,
No,
they're
but
not
the point
buying
is
this
that, but
shit."
they don't care
Yeah.
because the narrative has already switched that if you support a guy like Jeff Evely, if you support what he's doing, that means you're against our first responders. It's the same thing that happened during the
Nonsense.
lockdowns in 2020. If you're not for the lockdowns, that means you believe that sick people should die.
You're pro
The
COVID,
narrative is
right?
always exactly.
If you're not down with this, you're pro wildfire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where they're going. So as soon as it becomes this false equivalency, you know that they're running out of excuses, but yet people are so indoctrinated that they still believe it because the TV told you, my cell phone's telling me what to believe, and I need to believe it because I cannot convince myself that the government doesn't like you. If the day you cross that bridge, the day
It's a
that
hard
you
pill
look
to
at
swallow.
them,
It just
yet
is. Yeah.
yet all the proof is there. Just here in Montreal, there was a program by the CIA that was thought to be conspiracy theory forever called MK Ultra. It's been proving to be 100% accurate. That they tried right here in Montreal, where I am, the hospital, the McGill University was in bed with the CIA, and they drugged Montrealers without their knowledge with LSD. They dumped LSD in their drinking water without telling them, to see the effect that it would have on people. I've done LSD. I've bat tripped on LSD, and I knew what I had in my system. Imagine not knowing.
Yeah.
This is a fact. You can find the information online right now if you want. So what type of government, what do they think of you if they're ready to do that? As soon as I swallowed that pill, I'm like, it's limitless, because there was a great interview. I have to remember who the journalist was, but it's an American journalist that was friends with one of the Rothschilds, and he explained to him behind the scene that they simply don't see us as equals. What would you do to an animal? What would you do to a fly on the wall that's bothering you? You smack it. Once you cross that bridge that you and I are not the same, very easy for me to dismiss you and to treat you like something else, and I don't care what happens to you because you're not me, you're not the same.
Yeah.
Wow, what a rabbit hole. My
Yeah,
apologies.
I was gonna say, this is how we do things around here. Eventually we'll get
Thanks,
to
Jason.
No problem. Sometimes people
He started it. Jason
Sometimes
started it.
wanna
Stacey
eat.
Jameson's fault. Yeah, she started us down this rabbit hole.
That's true.
Blame it on her.
That's true.
All right,
but Rob, sometimes people just want to eat steak, right? Like, it's hard to know the truth, and sometimes you just rather be back into it. And I hope it's Alberta steak, not the Australian or the Mexico steak that's making its way up here. But it's
I think
tough.
most
It's
people
tough.
would take the blue pill if they had that similar option as in the Matrix. Do you want the comfortable lie or the uncomfortable truth? I think a lot of people will take the comfortable lie.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
they are right now.
Yeah. And that's why it is a hard pill to swallow, literally. But eventually, I think most people will get there if nothing changes. If they keep showing us that's what's going on, and unless you're totally brainwashed and you're just gonna run out of any more excuses, any benefit of the doubt you can give these people. But like I said, we do agree on the main thing, that things are going very, very badly.